Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rebooked, the show where we talk about the men and the women who be slapping the meat and the stories they tell in the process. Of course, I'm GB, you got Matt, you also have Jake, and today we're yapping about all the latest in the world of WWE. By the way, if you happen to be a fan of AEW and TNA, just a fan of wrestling in general, because we actually cover that across a bunch of different videos. So make sure you go check it out. You can see our Wednesday show. You can also check out our TNA episode where we talk about the new TNA International Championship. That's a thing, by the way. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that. In any case, though, fellas, lots going on in the world. Don't need to talk about that, but let's talk about how your weekends are shaping up. Any plans, Jake? Now that March Madness is over, is what are we looking forward to now in the shoot sports / meat sports world?
Baseball's just gotten started, so that's pretty much
that's right.
That's pretty much what's going on right now.
Got to cheer my Yankees.
It's about to hit this lull where there's like not a whole lot going on in sports aside from baseball. So if you don't like baseball, it's a pretty boring time of year.
Wow, that sounds so depressing. I like baseball a lot, so I'm very.
I do too. Yeah,
I'm very excited because I've been seeing all the controversy with the bats. Have they figured that out yet?
Bats?
Yeah, have they figured that out yet, or is that still a thing?
Are they still corking bats?
It's kind of like not really being that covered as much anymore. Dodgers tried to use torpedo bat. It was funny. Who was it? Max Muncy for the Dodgers tried to use a torpedo bat on 2 at-bats like a week or so ago. Horrible. So he switched back on his 3rd at-bat to his normal bat and cranks a game-tying double. So, like, it doesn't work for everybody.
So people were just mad about it because it was the Yankees and everyone hates New York?
Well, it did seem suspect.
Yeah, but like the Yankees have like
within the rules.
Big ass hitters, though. I mean, you have freaking Judge on that team.
Who don't need help.
Who don't need help.
He's not using one, from what I understand.
Oh, really?
What the hell is a torpedo bat?
So essentially,
you throw it at someone like a missile.
I mean, I suppose you could.
Torpedo bat, I choose you.
They did some kind of study where they figured out like where the actual sweet spot of the bat is to figure out where most hits and where like the most contact comes. And then they took excess wood and moved it to that area to make the sweet spot bigger. So that's essentially what they did, which is legal within the rules.
Yeah.
Because it's all about like the amount of wood you use or something.
I know you still can't use metal bats. Right, it still has to be wood.
Would die if they use metal bats in MLB.
Dude, you know what's crazy? We used to use metal bats when I played Pee Wee baseball as a child, and the fact
they still do. You use a metal bat up through college.
But why? But then is it because it's in the hand of a child that it's not that bad?
Yes.
Okay, got it. now I understand, because back then I was like going into high school. I'm like, oh, I want to use metal bats, and then they were like, nah, man, you should use wood because that's what everyone else uses. And I was like, I'm not a conformist. I just ended up not making it anyway.
As long as I can use one, that's what I'll take.
Okay, fair enough. All right, good to know. Bring the metal bats, kids. All right, well, Matt, what about you?
I think if we had steroids and metal bats at the same time, that'd be real fun.
Yeah, actually, baseball would be the most exciting ever, but also the concussions. Someone please think of the concussions. Matt, what you got going on this week?
I'll be wrestling in Wisconsin actually this weekend. It'll be tomorrow on the day this comes out, Friday. So the 12th of April. I'll be wrestling in Wausau, Wisconsin for Frontline Pro Wrestling.
Nice.
Wisconsin.
Who you going up against? Do you know yet?
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's going down.
Yeah.
He's going down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, down with that asshole, whoever that is. I'm sure they're a lovely person, but yeah, you're going down. He's going to drink your blood. Yeah, vaudevillains for life.
God.
I don't know. Is that how the gimmick works? Are we making changes to it? Vaudevillains become the next Gangrel or something like that? I'm down
vampires,
with it.
Black and white vampires. Yeah, Nosferatu.
I honestly think that would pop off as a gimmick, though. Black and white vampires. We already got the black and white, movie star, right? We had the theater act as well, because you guys, you did it first.
We had black and white vampires.
Who?
In
What?
wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, not in real.
Oh yeah, we're talking about wrestling.
Wrestling. Like
Blade. He's a black vampire.
no.
We've had vampires of every race. Vampires are not discriminatory. They will drink anyone's blood. We should learn from the vampires.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that was coming.
Suck anyone's blood.
I had a feeling when I said black and white, Jake was going to go for the jugular, and I was not disappointed. It was so good.
No pun intended.
That's hey, with the vampires,
look at that.
right?
Well played. Well played. Let's go ahead and move on to our narrative notes because a lot has happened. And as always, we truncated all the things that happened across SmackDown and Raw into one convenient document so that you all can see it here. But first things first, unfortunate news. Kevin Owens announced that he will be missing WrestleMania due to injury, which really sucks.
Yeah.
Do we know, did he specify, did we say what it was? We find out what it was like a neck thing or something like that?
It's his neck, yeah.
Ah, shit. Man.
So he'll be out for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, necks are scary and funky. And I mean, you could, depending on your rehab and how the surgery and the fusion or whatever that needs to happen goes, could be 6-8 months, could be 2 years. You know what I mean? Depending on how it takes and how rehab goes. So, I mean, could see him by the end of 2025, or it might be well into 2026 before. You never know. So he's got to get the surgery, and then we'll go from there.
That sucks. That really sucks, especially considering he was really putting together an awesome story with Randy.
Kidding.
You know, and all the stuff that he did with Kevin Owens with Cody Rhodes as well. Excuse me. And all of that was just so good. And also, it does kind of suck because I think like the crowd weren't like entirely sure what was going on. They were like, some were buying into it, some weren't buying into it.
Because he's such a good heel.
He's such a good heel. You just never know. Yeah.
Is he pulling some ruse? Is this part of a segment to pull one over on Randy? Like, to his credit, he's such a piece of crap as a character
that he would
especially but you would think he was going to try to pull the wool over and then jump Randy or something.
Yeah. But it clearly the way that it ended, the way things kind of left off, that's over. Kevin Owens, or hopefully KO can get some rest and get some. It gets back better than ever. Because man, I mean that dude's primed for a run, and maybe coming back would be like the best thing for him. Who knows? But it's incredible how that guy continues to take something and turns it into magic. It's so good, so good. We had a little bit more as well. Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the U.S. title is set. And I have a new rule that I would like to propose, everyone. I think we should settle all number one contender matches in last man standing format. I think that was the most entertaining. It was so fun. I just say last man standing all the time. Who wants it more? You know what I mean? Who wants more?
Sure.
And then after that, the champion comes out and then they got to fight right after. That's really that's like a true MJF style move there. But yeah, do we think this is a potential Jacob Fatu US title here? Because it's feeling that way, right?
It feels like it's been going that way for a while, especially since the bloodline kind of dissipated. That we've been waiting for this Jacob Fatu arrival moment, like true arrival moment, and I think Mania clearly could be and probably will be that time.
Yeah, it'd be sick to see Jacob Fatu have that. What a story that guy has, man. For real,
no kidding.
He's had such a journey up until this point. Then moving forward, we had Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton had a promo. It was one of the promos of all time. And it happened to us, and it happened to them, and most importantly, Charlotte, which is really unfortunate. But Jake, I just want to start with you on this real fast, and we'll move forward. What did you think about all this? It really feels like we know it's going to be a great match, but this story is just ice cold.
I don't know that we do.
Really?
I don't think we do.
You don't think
I don't
between
think we
these
do
two
know
women, they
anymore.
don't have like the ability to put. I think they have the
That's
more.
not
than,
the issue.
That's
Yeah.
not the question.
well, no, but I think their
That's not
natural
what-
ability will lead to a good match. Will it lead to a great match? I don't know. But Jake,
I
sorry.
thought their natural ability wouldn't lead to what we saw in the ring the other night. Too.
Yeah, fair.
You know what I mean? And like, because we've talked about it before on this program, how wrestling is pretty much violent improv, right?
Mhm.
So, and one of the number one rules in improv is you make the person you're sharing the stage with look better. You set them up.
Yep.
You set them up for success.
Yeah.
And that'll end up making you look good too.
Mm-hmm.
And someone here is not doing that.
Yep.
And I'm not going to point fingers. I know who I think is kind of to blame for a lot of this awkwardness. Well, and
I just switched to a picture. That's all I did was switch to a picture.
The timing
That's all
was
I did.
impeccable.
but the timing was impeccable.
I'm live producing, please.
So, but I just, I don't know, man. This is gotten weird.
I think that's a good point you bring up, Jake, about the importance of looking out for one another, because it's a thing that I very much believe
Because
in my
everyone
job.
thinks of it just as a safety thing, right?
Yeah.
And it is, but you have to also apply that to just the characters and the story you're telling in general. Is like, you have to look at, because if the other person in the story doesn't look good, then neither are you.
Yeah.
You're not going to look good either.
Yeah.
The best
there has to be
analogy
give and take.
we were ever told in training and wrestling, and I think it goes to your point, improv, show business, comedy, all this stuff. The age-old thing, especially when we were taught about making promos, is like, if you go up there and you call someone a piece of crap for 10 minutes and then you beat them, what did you do? You beat a piece of crap. So who cares? And vice versa. If they're going to end up beating you, well, apparently you got beat by a piece of crap.
Right.
So while you have to be antagonists and stuff like that and play those roles, there's ways to do it without this. Yeah. I mean, it feels like it clearly got personal beyond the character, beyond the story, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But regardless, nothing really changed story wise.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we're not harping on it here. I'm going to be honest with people, because I know that this is like
the nitty gritty backstage.
This is like a big story in the IWC, which is a problem in and of itself. Which IWC being a term is so fucking cringe. But anyway, so yeah, like it's a thing that they decided to make, and by they I mean the mediocre men who genuinely cannot wrap their head around people like struggling in their life, having issues in their life, and then shit happening, you know what I mean? Because that's literally what this is all about. It's just like them dogging on Charlotte for a lot of reasons. And look, you can say some are justified, you can say many are not justified. But the reality of it is that what shows in the product is just incomplete and is simply just not the story that is worthy of this championship going in to WrestleMania. And I think that the biggest blunder that they made, hands down, and I do not put this fault onto Tiffany Stratton, because it's a certain extent, excuse me, you got to be like, hey, it does take two to tango. But I don't think Charlotte ever showed up to the dance to begin with. She's not the
veteran.
Yeah, she's not the veteran, and I don't think Charlotte showed up to the dance to begin with. And it's very clear that there's this separation. Hopefully things can get better.
And I don't fault Tiffany having the need and desire to defend herself.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
She might have taken it a toe over the line, but
yeah.
I mean,
and we don't know what they spoke about. This could have been a thing that they had agreed upon. Maybe they genuinely thought this was going to be the banger segment. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see how anyone would think that. But this is like someone had to green light these two wrestlers going out there and cutting this promo to promote their match. Someone greenlit
cutting a promo, but not what was said necessarily.
Yeah.
It's live TV.
But the thing is, though, is that WWE has been very much entering into this era of hyper scripted, very like, focused narrative building.
I would argue the opposite.
Really? Because I feel like
no. The storytelling,
hyper-produced.
but far no. On promos, that because that was a Vince thing.
Oh no.
We're
sorry.
Say what we write. They are much more free in promos and stuff as of late. So
I'm
think
sorry.
that freedom,
I mean camera angles and stuff like that. Like
actual
production behind it, because they've been using that as a means to tell stories, right? Which is why everything they are going through the paces of like, you're going to stand here when this happens. You're going to do they're doing that. Like all those moments where they like capture someone and then the music hits and the cameraman conveniently is right there to catch the behind. That's a practiced, rehearsed camera shot. That is not something that you just think of on the fly. Not saying that the contents of the promos aren't less produced than before.
Yes.
But there are, every segment you got to land a plane, right? You got to land a plane. The plane's got to take off and you got to land a plane, right? So there's got to be a plan. Unless there's a plane crash.
In this era of a lack of air traffic controllers.
That is very true. Maybe not the best analogy given how horrible the FAA is now,
or maybe the best.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, not much more to really I understand what you're saying, though. I think I'm just more like, man, like a lot of people should be kicking themselves for allowing that.
You can still I don't know. It felt like the air got sucked out of the whole arena when all that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So even the crowd was like, we don't
like this.
Sure or not.
yeah. It is what it is. Unfortunately, that's just the circumstance. Hopefully they could turn it around, but we'll keep eyes on it. Moving on, though, to a very anticipated debut. Rey Fenix, however you like to say it, makes his anticipated debut versus Nathan Frazer, who was also debuting on SmackDown. Well, he's been there before, but technically those two guys had a great match. Super fun to watch. Nathan Frazer, great wrestler. Was getting a lot of old Seth Rollins vibes with him. Could have been the long hair. Definitely was the long hair. But
I believe he trained at Rollins school too. I think he's a Black and Brave kid.
Then that makes all the sense then, because
if I'm wrong, somebody will correct me, but I'm 90% sure he did.
He very much wrestles like Seth, which isn't a bad thing, because I'm a big fan of Seth Rollins' style. So really cool. Jake, good to see Rey Fenix in AEW. What are you hoping, or sorry, in AEW, lol, WWE. What are you hoping for from this WWE run for Rey?
A similar push as Penta. That's kind of what I'm hoping that he at least gets, the same kind of attention and fanfare. And I mean, starting out, it kind of seems like he might. I mean, I like them bringing in Nathan Frazer to wrestle someone who's like super complimentary with him and still like a good, formidable opponent. Yeah. So I'm glad that that Nathan Frazer got to come in and show a larger audience what he can do. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of essentially what I hope for Rey Fenix, is that he's just, that he gets a good push, same as Penta does, and we kind of see where that ends up going.
Yeah, I kind of see. I don't know if I'm crazy here, but I think I do like that they debuted them independently, so that the audience can get to know Penta and Rey Fenix separately from the Lucha Brothers. But I do think we're going to get the Lucha Brothers very soon. And it's probably going to be them versus like Judgment Day or something like that.
I could see post Mania maybe trying to write towards that, trying to kind of navigate towards that.
Yeah. Well, because my mindset is if I'm doing a little bit of fantasy booking here, brother, real fast, just going to say I could see it being Fatal 4-Way, Penta loses, Finn wins. There's some shenanigans with the Judgment Day where Finn is the new Intercontinental Champion. Braun Breaker moves on because I think he could, or gets shuffled over to another show, goes to SmackDown maybe, who knows. And then from there, I can easily see it being like Penta trying to get back at Judgment Day. He needs help. Who does he call? His brother, Rey Fenix, who you've been told multiple times is his brother on commentary. And then boom, you're pretty much doing Lucha Brothers again. And then you're right back where you were at AEW. But hopefully that means you're doing some high profile tag matches against like New Day, American Made. That'd be pretty fun. War Raiders would be pretty fun. So who knows? We'll see. But that's my vision. But I'm excited, man. He's so good. He's so freaking good. So many of those spots that he was pulling off. Him and Nathan Frazier. Good God. Those guys are...
Oh, yeah.
Hurt my back watching them. Now, moving forward, though, Lyra Valkyria defeated Bayley for the U.S. title. Pretty straightforward matchup.
Yeah, really good, though.
Good match.
Really good match. Yeah, really good match.
Yeah. And you know what, though? I was thinking about this. I think that's okay. We should have just good, straightforward matches. Like, not everything needs, like, especially for these new belts, you need to have that. The IC title needs to be the workhorse title, the way it is for the men's. So I hope they continue to do that. Then the War Raiders won via DQ versus the New Day. Now, I'm not going to talk about what was on commentary because that doesn't matter. But what we did see was New Day. They're getting close, guys. This is happening. Yep. Bad guy New Day going to be tag champs. When's it happening, Matt? When do you think it's going to go down?
They didn't announce this for Mania, did they? They like tag titles or anything. So they could throw it on like a countdown maybe, or a kickoff, or it could be added to one of the nights. You never know. We are in that season, so it feels weird to do it like next week or like the week before. But sometimes they also do like those shows the week of Mania. They have kind of like higher profile match. Sometimes they do that the Andre Battle Royal. Like they'll do some of these like, hey, we can't get this on the card this weekend, so let's do it here. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't love it, but I wouldn't be surprised like the Monday before Mania. Maybe if they don't get put on the Mania card by then, maybe they do a title match there, and we do see heel New Day champions, because I think that is needed, quite frankly. I think since the heel turn, it was a huge deal that they turned, and they felt kind of stagnant, like kind of low profile. Like, hey, they're bad guys. They're featured most weeks, but like we need something to prop them up. And because when the New Day get a spotlight, they're so good.
They are
like a bigger spotlight.
Yeah,
I should say.
I agree.
The Raw tag team picture's been kind of stagnant, I think, a little bit, and has needed a kick in the britches, if you will. And I think that what better way to get that started again than to put it on two legendary veterans who are one of the greatest tag teams of all time, to help shore up what's been kind of
you got to put some adrenaline into the division. You got to put something into the division to get it going, because right now the division's very, very lukewarm. I think people like the War Raiders, but the problem is that you got 35, 40-minute promos that don't allow the War Raiders to be able to do matches in the middle of the ring. That being said, I also don't know if, who knows, maybe they're like preserving them, don't want them to get injured before Mania. There's a lot of reasons, so it's not just like, 30-minute promos. But I haven't seen them wrestle. I've barely seen them go in the ring. And these guys are good. They go. They're so entertaining. So it is disappointing. But whereas when you juxtapose that with the tag team division on SmackDown, they're getting a lot more time, but they're getting like no story. So that it's kind of like the opposite issue. It's like Raw has a really fun story with the New Day that is inevitable, that's looking like it's going to happen, but you're not getting great matches out of it. And then on the other side, on SmackDown, you're getting great matches but no story. It's very, very interesting. We'll see which flavor works.
Really quick question for the room, if this could work. So I don't know, something I think they're both doing it. I know Woods is doing it. I don't know if Kofi's doing it, but on social, like what they're posting these pictures of them on vacation and doing all this stuff, and always hashtag thank God for the New Day, right? Is kind of the thing. Can you imagine there's a world they win the titles? And do you remember when the New Day first debuted?
They were preachers.
They had the gospel thing, but everybody was like, what is this? It kind of got a meh reaction, because they were trying to be like, heels, but like it was weird. Nobody bought it really, and they ended up kind of switching up and stuff. So imagine they bring the gospel back, and now it works as heels because they're just saying, "Thank God for the new day, the new champs, and everything." And finally, we can go full circle, and the gospel choir New Day can actually work in 2025.
I
It'd be
love
kind of
that.
funny.
I
That
actually
would be
think that'd be
funny.
great.
Especially if you got the same choir that was in their first ever Tron.
Yeah.
I support.
That'd be
Oh,
cool.
dude,
That'd
man, I remember that gimmick too, and being like, "Wow, this is offensive." And that was literally where I left it at. I just was like, okay, but if they signed on, they signed on. And wow, talk about taking something and turning chicken shit into chicken soup or chicken salad.
Yep.
It's really, really good. Yeah, man. Shout out to the New Day. I actually will agree with it. I'll co-sign that idea. I like it. I'm on board with it. All right. Well, let's see what else we got here. Because that's right. We got ourselves a three-way. It's a triple threat matchup for the the Women's World Championship. Excuse me. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky. It is official. And today water is wet. We knew that this was going to happen, but now that it is happening, Jake, it's exciting. But I will say that everything about the way that this promo played out continues to just add on to that. And I mean, it's got to be Io, right? It's got to be Io at Mania, Jake, because they're keep ignoring her.
Yeah. I think it makes for a much more interesting story and better character development for all three of them if Io wins. And yeah, I'm hoping that it goes that way too. I think like I've been saying for a while, I think that this is an effort to show what Io Sky can really do.
Yeah.
And the kind of wrestler that she can really be. It's going to be a really, really fun match either way. But yeah, it just kind of feels like the champion feels like an underdog in her own story.
Yeah. Yeah. Feels like a spectator in her own story until she missile drop kicks her way into the plot really, really quickly. So I thought that was
she drilled Rhea on that.
That's scary.
I thought she heard her. As a matter of fact,
when you're coming from behind, like you can't spot the person. But it looked, as long as everybody was okay, it looked great.
Yeah, it looked
really good.
Coming out of that, looked phenomenal.
But guys, we're forgetting the biggest swerve of all. Rhea Ripley apparently rejoined the Judgment Day this week.
Oh yes, of course.
And it was the shock around the world.
Oh yeah, wait, what happened there?
It was Adam Pearce, just
accidentally
said representing the Judgment Day, welcome Rhea Ripley or whatever.
And even Cole on commentary was like, she's
a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
He's been stressed, you guys.
Yeah, come on,
It's been
guys.
a very stressful 6-8 months.
He's going through a lot.
Pierce lost all of his hair. Okay, it's been really tough. That was the reason. It's been a difficult time for him. All right. Although I will say, my guy needs a vacation. He needs some kind of support system. Take PTO. I don't know what to tell you, Pierce. Just do something for your mental.
Can we have segments on Raw with him like trying to like do self-care days at Raw? Like he's getting a massage with cucumbers on, and like people are running in like, Pierce, I need a match.
Yeah, I love that.
Essentially, turn him into Principal Skinner.
Yeah,
like that's kind of like that's kind of
what I want is every time someone says I'm gonna go see Pierce and make this happen, the following segment has to be Pierce doing something that gives him comfort, only to then be interrupted. That should be every running segment on Raw, and they could have a lot of fun ways with that. Come on, just let the camera people cook. They'll have a good time with it. All right, let's move on here because we don't have a lot of time. I want to make sure we get through all this stuff here because there's a lot to talk about. So the men's Intercontinental title match is now a fatal four-way at WrestleMania. So it's going to be our champion, Braun Breaker, going up against Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Ooh, throws a wrinkle into this one. Real quick, where would you like to see this go, Matt? What would you... I gave my theory of like what could happen with Penta and Judgment Day. What do you think?
We've seen all the teasing, which they always give the Judgment Day good like backstage digital. They always follow up
Mhm.
with these stories. The stuff
Yeah.
with Liv and kind of she's back on the like pressuring Dom, like, hey, this should be you. And I think at Mania it might be him. And I think we're gonna have a Dominic Mysterio Intercontinental Champion, and I think the Judgment Day will start to continue to crumble for real. So as much as I think
Finn won't be able to handle
it could
it.
be a
Legit.
Finn.
I
Yeah.
legit think that's happening. I
I
think
do
Dominic
too.
Mysterio is about to be our Intercontinental Champion.
I do too.
Crazy, but I'm with it, man.
I'm 100%
Yeah.
here for it.
Yeah.
The Judgment
100%.
Day really has continued to be the story that keeps giving even when you think it's done. And I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, they've stayed relevant for a while.
It's not even the blood, but you know what it is though? And I think I had this thought, and maybe it's because Judgment Day wasn't this like company ending stable. You know what I mean? They were
Yeah.
just a gang of people who were little shits.
Like-minded individuals.
That's all they were. Whereas the Bloodline was like company owning, like their whole thing was destroying, was like owning it all, being the best.
I would kind of argue again. I think that's also why I would counter argue that they had a similar thing. They're a family. They're blood. When you put those stables together, like we are taking over, it can be epic, but it kind of has a shelf life because if you don't either get destroyed yourself or if you don't take over in 6, 8 months, a year, or whatever, you start to lose credibility for why your faction exists. So I think even the Bloodlines case, though, at the core of it, they were just a family. They're, this Samoan dynasty kind of thing. And I think those groups, if it's just formed out of some kind of commonality as opposed to like a goal to destroy, then I think you have a longer shelf life.
Yeah. You're so right. I mean, the Bloodline definitely evolved into
400%.
We
By the
own
end,
it all.
Roman runs the show, and he's got all the backup to help him do it for sure.
But
a virus or a bacteria that just keeps adapting to its atmosphere. That's all Judgment Day is.
Yeah.
They're
damn right.
I love it.
They are bacteria.
That's my bacteria stable right
They're
there.
mutating germs.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they can't. Well, this isn't working now. They've adapted to cold. They've adapted to heat now.
Yeah,
the antibiotics aren't working. That's Judgment Day.
I love it. All right, well, there's your narrative notes. Of course, there's so much going on. If we miss anything, let us know what stories caught your interest this week in WWE, or what stories didn't catch your interest this week. We'd love to hear it in the comment section down below, but always be respectful. You know the whole deal. Throw some meat there while you're at it. Let's move on to our first topic of discussion, because it seems like, fellas, this World Heavyweight Championship matchup between Gunther and Jey Uso is going actually big. They have managed to relight the fire. You know, what was a couple matches we saw on free TV, blah, blah, blah. But now they have found some good substance. But, Matt, is it enough for you? Do you need more?
So last week I said I really wanted to see Jey Uso unleash a man on fire kind of thing. Like Gunther needs to be held back. I was kind of hoping for that. It did feel a little weird that like he got strapped to a rope. I watched his own brother get bloodied in front of him, and then the next week he shared words with the man.
He wore black.
They were fierce words. Yes,
he wore black.
He did wear black. And he got real. So I'm conflicted because the promo was really good. It was very good. I wanted to see more vitriol. I wanted to see an unleashed Jey Uso. However, though, okay, we're not getting that. So what we did get though, that was really good. That felt good. That felt real. That wasn't yeet. That wasn't main event. That was, he's holding it back. To his credit, it felt like he was holding back that rage I was talking about. He's like, I'm going to save this. I'm going to ball it all up. And then at WrestleMania, Lord have mercy, I am going to end you. And it felt in his gut. It felt like it was oozing off of him, and it was from a place that was very real.
Off of him.
And you know what? I loved the reaction. You could tell the crowd was with it because there were parts of it that were kind of a little quiet. They weren't like raucous the whole time. But man, when he said, "I'm not afraid of you anymore," that
Yeah.
got a huge reaction,
Yeah.
which was something that would normally be a line on paper where I'm like, because people don't like talking about fear. Fans don't like to hearing about admitting fear. They just want to hear you say, "I'm gonna whoop your ass," like normally in a wrestling environment. So like having that moment of like it was confidence and everything, but talking about a previous vulnerability,
Yeah.
and overcoming that. I don't know. It wasn't a line I was expecting to get that big of a reaction, and the fact that it did, I thought was really cool. So
Yeah. Can we
I
also give
loved
a
it.
shout out to Gunther doing his best Republican politician look right now because it's just too funny. The red tie. I mean, he looks like corporate Kane. He comes out.
Somebody said like a gym teacher getting ready for like to chaperone a formal, like too a little bit.
I have
Like
to.
he had his collared shirt on, but his sleeve was still kind of rolled up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, red ties. No, not a not a vibe, guys. Not a vibe. Jake, do you agree with Matt on his assessment of it? Was there anything else that you would have liked to have seen, or were you satisfied with how the story is pushing forward here?
I loved this segment. I loved everything about this segment. For starters, I think this was Jay's best promo.
100%.
Yeah.
This was his best promo he's ever cut. I loved that he came out, black t-shirt, didn't yeet with the crowd, none of that, all business. And he walks down to the ring. And, I think I said this when we talked about it in our Discord. Beware the quiet man in the corner of the bar.
Yeah.
The guy who sits over there and doesn't say anything is the guy you have to be the most worried about. And Jey Uso comes out, a man on fire, but it's bubbling underneath the surface
That
because
for sure.
he knows if I put my hands on this man now, then he wins. He's won. He's gotten under my skin. But and then Jimmy's sacrifice was for nothing.
Yeah.
So I have to stay even keel. But that line where he said, I'm going to put my head on my pillow and I'm going to pray and ask God for forgiveness for the man I'm about to become.
That's good.
Is a bar.
Yeah, as a bar.
I mean, that was such a good line. And you could see it, man. You could see it in his eyes. And I'll tell you, I loved how Gunther played this because Gunther looked like a guy thinking, oh shit, did I go too far? Did I just cause a problem for myself? Because I mean, even in that picture right there, you could kind of see on his face where he's like, oh God, like this had the exact opposite effect of what I was hoping to accomplish.
Yeah.
R/today I fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My face when. Yeah, exactly. And so I thought both of these guys, I thought they both played their parts so well. Their face and their emotions told as much of a story as their words did. It was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I'm going to say
super hyped for it now.
Now that we're in this lane here, because the thing is, Jey Uso and Gunther had two good matches. I would say good, entertaining wrestling matches that, showcase why Gunther is one of the greatest professional wrestlers, to lace up a pair of boots right now, but also showed how Jey Uso really feeds off of the moment, the energy, the crowd. He's very good at that, right? I don't want any of that.
He even was like telling
match.
the crowd, like,
yeah. I don't want any of that in this match.
Let me talk.
I want violence. I want Jey Uso to, attack Gunther. I want Gunther to chop the ever living crap out of Jey Uso. Like, I want this to be a very physical matchup because I think that's the story that is being told now. If these guys go in there and they start doing like freaking arm bars and like, rest holds and stuff like that, which could happen for sure because it's a Gunther match. So it could very well happen because that's the thing that he likes to do, right? It feeds into the narrative of how Gunther wrestles. So that's perfectly fine. But I want Jey Uso to really be visceral, you know, and it feels like that's the story they're telling. So that's the match that we need. Let him have that Yeet celebration moment in that entrance with the crowd when they're hyped up. You know what I mean? Almost like it's a battle cry, almost. You know, and they can treat it as such. I don't know. That's my like wishful thinking.
I'm totally on the vibe, and I'm like, you know what, you want. There's been a little bit of wobble in some people's like support of like the Jey Uso thing since the Rumble. And I'm like, between last week and this week, great job of just reigniting this story. But I mean, yeah, given the fact of that, and not only that, then that like, look, it's clear it's clear actually that this won't main event either night.
Yeah.
But I hope it's not an opener. Because here's the thing, if you want to separate this from some of the other marquee matches, which to your point, GB, are going to have, even if it's heel Cena winning, even if it's Roman or whoever wins that triple threat, the ending shot is going to be whoever wins that. Fireworks, boom, 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 boom. If it's Cena, it's just going to be like, oh my God, what happens now? But it's still going to be that outshot, epic kind of thing. Can you imagine for a babyface to establish a new babyface world champion in this heated story if Jey Uso won instead of fireworks and yeeting in the crowd, stood over a bloodied Gunther, wiping Gunther's blood off over his chest? Like, he has a whole new level of legitimacy.
Yeah.
If you have Jey like withstand the brutality of Gunther and then pay it back tenfold and pay back that moment, that bloody moment with Jimmy holding the world championship. Like, it wouldn't be pretty, but it would be badass, which could have really helped you establish Jey Uso as someone to
as a true main eventer.
With.
As a true, not just a guy who calls
not
himself
just a catchphrase.
Yeah.
I'd love to see basically this play out similar-ish, like the match to kind of play out like Stone Cold and Bret Hart WrestleMania 13. Like where Stone Cold really had his coming out moment as a badass.
Yeah.
And fighting through the pain, and like I want a match similar to that with Jey Uso and Gunther.
And I think we're going to get it, because I think that's the story that they're telling. Because when you look at it, like, I don't really know what we're going to get out of John Cena and Cody Rhodes, but I know that these two guys, especially Gunther in particular, love to do those hard-hitting, brutal matches, right? I mean, you just go and look at literally any of his title defenses in NXT UK. Man is a tank. I mean, you can also just go look at any of his matches, but like those matches back then, though, that he had in particular on those pay-per-views, like that one with Ilya will forever be imprinted in my brain. It is, oh man. So yeah,
they also both have something to prove.
Very true.
Oddly enough, I mean, this is for both of them. I mean, end of the night, whatever, a WrestleMania world title match. This is their first time being on the show, WrestleMania, in a world title match.
Yep.
Defending, fighting for it. It's a main event. It may not be the main event, whatever you want to call it. It is a main event. So, like, they are both there to show why they belong in those spots.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna rise to that.
I do too. I do too. And regardless, it's going to be a moment. No matter how you look at it, it's going to be wild. The hits keep coming, because we also learned that CM Punk has a favor, and he has shared with us all what that favor is. And it turns out he wants Paul Heyman in his corner in the WrestleMania matchup, not in Roman Reigns' corner. Jake, was this a good use of the favor narrative thingamajigam? We'll call it that.
Narratively, yes, but it's a terrible favor. Like, you just have him kill him. Like, there's so many things you could like, you know what? Mess up his flight plans, Paul. Like, put something in his food.
Yeah.
Make him a little sick before the no, this is perfectly CM Punk. I mean, this is classic Punk mind games. And it's interesting that we've shifted focus to Paul being a central part of this story and this match. There you see him there about to drop the hardest album of 2025
with his Hall of Fame ring on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, right? Doesn't that look like it should have a parental advisory sticker
Hell
right there
yeah.
in the corner? And it's just called "My Name is Paul Heyman." So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see how much this is going to mess with everybody, especially now because we have Seth involved in it too. Like, you know, Seth is like, well, hey, I want a favor. I want to, you know, keep these mind games going too. It's become really fun and really interesting. It's not at all what I thought it would be. At the same time, I don't know what I thought the favor would turn out to be.
Yeah.
But you know, being my chaperone to the school dance wasn't exactly on my card for how Punk would use his favor. So I don't know, but clearly it's going to have some kind. It's going to have some kind of big impact on the match.
Yeah. Now
it wouldn't be this big of a story if not.
There were some things I want to hold on to here and discuss real fast, which in the contents of the promo, Matt, one of the things that Seth Rollins had laid out was that, look, when you needed them, Roman wasn't there, Punk wasn't there, no one was there. But now, and I like how this played out, and I'm curious if this is what they did it for, because Seth then decided, oh, I'm going to just start going out, I'm going to start pushing and poking and, you know, like attacking Paul. And he started doing it, and then CM Punk came out to fight for him, which, you know, I think makes a lot of sense, but that just further fuels Seth's case, right, Matt? That like Punk is only there because Heyman's coming out with him. He wouldn't help him out otherwise. Like, it feels like Seth he's the counterweight in this whole story that is telling the truth, but at the same time, you know what he's capable of. So it's like, what the hell, man?
I mean, yeah, that's been his MO for the last maybe year. I don't know, at least since like the whole War Games thing was started going on with the bloodline,
and I like how they tied that back as well. I thought that was really cool.
He's kind of been the guy of like, am I crazy? Like, he was kind of like, you know,
does no one have a memory here?
He's kind of turning into like, he's gonna have a little bit of his Drew McIntyre arc of just like, are you people all blind and deaf and dumb? Are your heads in the sand? Like, he feels like he's screaming in a cave and nobody can hear him. Yeah, into the void. So and I like that, and it kind of makes him a wild card and dangerous. Again, it's almost like Io Sky, Punk and Roman and Paul, they're all wrapped up in each other, and he's gonna pick those bones. That said, I get the idea of like trying to get like Paul being torn 3 ways because it's a 3-way match. I thought the whole thing at the end of Raw with Seth like not stomping Paul to say you owe me a favor was really kind of thin and weak. If you were going to try to get Seth like an IOU, I feel like there was a way stronger. It's like, okay, you didn't kick me today, but I just moved 6 inches and you could just, I'll just run away. I don't know. You have to like.
He stopped short. Heyman moved after.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, it's like going to someone and going, huh, you owe me a favor because I didn't punch. A favor, like you need to hold something. Blackmail needs to be like a little bit more.
I think what he's saying though is I can get to you at any minute. I can get to you at any minute. I've just proved it here. Even when your boy came out and tried to protect you, guess what? He didn't. And I could have driven your face into the canvas, and I can do it anytime that I want.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. I thought it was fun. It was kind of mob bossy, and that's kind of how I liked it.
Yeah.
But I think it's more, even if it's not like a legitimate threat, it's still Paul. I mean, we've seen Paul under stress. The poor guy, poor scamp was looking terrible in the secondary bloodline days. You know, not all that long ago. So he's already stressed enough as it is. Perhaps he just needs a little push into madness. and that's all Seth is looking for.
Where does that madness lead, though? Does it lead to Punk getting what he needs out of Heyman? Roman ultimately, making sure that his wise man pulls through in the end, or Seth Rollins, because Paul Heyman recognizes that there's a new opportunity to have his bread buttered somewhere else.
I'd argue that Seth is the most focused of the three right now, because I think the other two are so worried about what's going on with Paul and what is he going to do and how's he going to react. And Rollins is just throwing a little gas on the fire because it's fun.
Yeah, it is. It is fun. It's fun for us too, because this has been a fun story my God, somebody's flying around me. This has been a fun story to continue to follow through on. Yeah, I know, right? Just all the pestilence around me. But yeah, seriously, this got good, and it was good before, but it got even better. And there's certainly going to be a lot of new directions. They have time, right? But we have like 2 weeks until Mania, I believe. So we have a lot of time to tell some even more compelling stories. Because
I want to pose a question to the two of you then, since we're, like you said, 2.5, 3 weeks out at this point, not that far.
No, not at all.
Based on, because we've seen a lot of development from stories here recently, like with Jey and Gunther, and with this one, like we talked about. Give me your 3 most anticipated matches right now for WrestleMania.
Ooh, 3 most anticipated matches. Women's triple threat.
Okay.
Cody, but I'm gonna just put that in a corner. I'm excited for it, but I don't know if I'm like, it's gonna happen no matter what. So it doesn't matter. I know every match is gonna happen no matter what, but I don't know. I'm just like, I don't want to put that on my list. The Fatal 4-Way for the IC title, for sure.
Okay.
And I would probably say the men's triple threat. Yeah. And I would say these 3 matches are like the ones I'm excited for.
All right.
I would do. Cena Cody, that's more of just, I just want to see
given it's
the
like,
result.
Yeah,
kind of, yeah. Just like, I just want to see
I don't
how
want to
that
put in my
plays
list.
out. And The Rock and all the shenanigans that could happen. But so I get it. This triple threat for sure. Just I want to see how all 3 of these guys work together in a match too. Like it's a lot of egos. It's a huge stage. This will obviously be a very highly produced match too, just to get some great moments and angles and everything. Honestly, after the last 2 weeks, Jey and Gunther is on my list because I want to see the heat is back, and I want to see how they ride. I feel like they're going to be out to prove something.
Yeah,
I think they're both going to be out to prove something. So I want to see that one come out.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Jake?
Yeah, Cody and Cena seems like a cop-out answer, and but like, I mean, so I'm not like you. I'm not even going to say that one, because that one's like, yeah, of course I'm excited about that one. The triple threat that we just talked about, I'm kind of back on board with Gunther and Jey as well, and
Logan Paul, AJ Styles. He's excited.
It might be that Fatal 4-Way. Well, I am excited. I am a little excited about Tiffany and Charlotte, not for the right reasons, mind you, but I'm also kind of excited just because I'm like, it's like, look, have you ever been to a demolition derby? They're crazy. They're insane. And that could be the kind of match we get out of that.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, guys, we want to hear from you. What 3 matches are you looking forward to at WrestleMania now that we're a few weeks away? Let us know in the comments down below. Throw some meat while you're at it. And that takes us to our final segment of the show, which is Jake's Retro Rippage. And I can't seem to find the graphic right now. Oh, there it is. Retro Rippage, man. All right, Jake, what do we got?
We put the poll up in there. We had a tie. We only have 3 packs left as of right now.
No way.
We had a tie between pack 6 and 8, and ultimately pack 8 was
that's the one I voted for.
Let's go.
Hey, all right. Well, there you go. So let's see what we have in here. Hey, right off the bat, this is a new card. We haven't gotten we've gotten this person, but not this card.
No way.
Rendition.
We got a new Missy Hyatt.
Whoa! Awesome.
Whose hobby is thoroughbred horses. Now,
What riding them, raising them?
I don't know, but I've
that's
beware
just her hobby,
beware
guys.
horse girls. Beware horse girls is all I was.
You know
So,
what these
anyway.
these hobbies and like interests are that remind me of? You know, do you remember that It's Always Sunny when they were trying to make Charlie a dating profile?
Of course, I remember.
And they were like,
that.
"What are your
Yeah.
interests?
Just magnets.
What,
Well,
you
what
use
about
them?
magnets?
Yeah,
Just
just
magnets. Okay, I'm gonna put travel.
I like magnets.
Yeah,
What about board games?
I made my own custom shirt that looks like Charlie with a Tinder profile, and all that stuff from that scene
Yeah.
listed on there. Milk
So
steak
good.
and
Yep.
dislikes people's knees. Cover your knees up if you're going to be going outside. Here we go. Arn Anderson is our
Double
next
A.
card. We've had
Look at that
a
tank.
double A. Flying Brian.
Awesome.
Here we go again.
All right. A Doom. Once
Hell
again.
yeah.
Another Flying Brian.
Wow.
He's all over the place.
Yeah.
He is all over. He's flying, man.
Yeah, man.
Steiner Brothers.
Nice.
Woof, woof, woof.
But where is
Yeah,
El
so they have
Gigante?
both of their mottos on here. I love this one. If you can't run with the big dog, stay on the porch.
And
I
Rick,
love that one.
it's not my fault. All right.
And yeah, I don't understand the "it's not my fault."
He gets
How is
blamed
that
a lot.
How is that a motto?
I wonder if he
gets
still
blamed
says
for
that to this day. You know,
That's gonna. I want that should be on his tombstone.
it's not
It's
my
not
fault.
my fault. Ricky Morton
Ah,
Nice.
baby face.
out of good old Nash Vegas, Tennessee. Another Sid.
Okay.
Okay, this is new. This is a new thing on the back of this Sid Vicious card. Look at his words to live by. I'm no blonde prima donna cutie pie. What?
I mean, he's
What?
not.
Look at that. I'm no blonde prima
not
donna
wrong.
cutie
What
pie.
in
No lies
tarnations?
detected.
That's the crazy.
Oh
what does
my-
that even mean?
I- He's
have to
no.
ask.
Here's another friggin' Doom card. That one with Ron on the front. Tommy Rich,
Wildfire.
whose favorite hold is a Fez press.
God damn it.
We
Real
got
technical
Dutch
wrestler.
Mantel
Love it.
with an abdominal stretch there. And GB,
No way. No way.
Please.
he's back. Gigante is back.
We did
And
it.
can I show you? This also is a tremendous part on this card. I don't think we saw this on any of the other ones, but this has listed his favorite wrestler and his favorite singer, Janet Jackson
And Sting.
and
Oh
Sting
my
are his
God.
favorite. What?
Oh shit, that's amazing. Oh,
I'm not a blonde prima donna,
That makes me so
cutie
fucking
pie.
Hey man,
mad.
but get off the porch or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
I did want to before we close the show, did want to give a quick special shout out here to one of our viewers because we missed it at the top, and I want to make sure I get it. And also, Matt
Oh,
put all
right.
this effort into it. We were talking before about Paul Heyman and everything that's been going on with him. Well, guys, Axel Splode might have the solution because he's saying that his friends and him were joking that a Paul Heyman
Right.
dating sim. Who will pick Paul on the night of the big dance at WrestleMania? That's the game. So now your task, everyone who makes it to this point in the show, why don't you go ahead and name it? Name the video game starring
Yes.
Paul Heyman in a dating
Oh.
sim, trapped between
I
wanting
was
the
gonna
love and
say-
affection of CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and
I was
Seth
going to
Rollins.
say, what's your first date with Paul Heyman?
Or what's your first
That's a
date
good
with
one,
Paul
too.
Heyman too?
Well, either
Actually,
or.
I
Either or.
like that one even
Give me
better.
one of
Yeah.
those.
If you wanna do brownie points and say the name of the game, go for it. But what would be your first date with Paul Heyman? Let us know in the
Yeah.
comment section down below. But that's gonna do it for us here. We thank you so much for watching. Make sure you tune in to Rebooked next Wednesday when we're back talking about AEW and covering all the latest that happens in the world of pro wrestling. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon. Peace.